Hello and welcome to my channel. Why hello there, the new sniper recruit whose name I can't pronounce. Let's take a look at your real name, shall we? Great, absolutely fantastic. Pozyomka is a heavy shooter sniper, the archetype infamous for its confusing trait. What exactly does high accuracy point-blank shot mean? It basically means they have a very short range. Looking at Pozyomka's stats, she boasts a high base attack at the cost of a longer attack interval. The main drawback from this archetype is definitely its limited range. Outside of her skills, Pozyomka won't be contributing much to the team. Moving on to her talents, Pozyomka can deploy a typewriter that lasts for 25 seconds. It will have the same skill as her but has its own individual redeployment time. It is also invulnerable. You can therefore use it to assassinate key enemies like drones with ease. However, buffs like Warfarin's skill 2 won't apply to it since it's untargetable. These are the typewriter's stats. As you can see, it has slightly lower attack than Pozy and boasts a straight line range. It also has a DP cost of 5 and a rather long redeployment time of 40 seconds, so it is encouraged to manually retreat the typewriter once it isn't required. Also, since it is a summon unit, you can deploy it on any ranged tiles in the stage, but in most scenarios, you'll want to deploy it close to Pozyomka due to her second talent. Her second talent gives the typewriter the ability to reduce the target's defense by 18% for 4 seconds with its attacks, and if it is placed near Pozyomka, the debuff is increased to 23%. The typewriter's attack interval is 1.6 seconds and the debuff lasts for 4. This means it can consistently apply the debuff to one enemy for its entire duration on the field. What's more, other physical operators can also benefit from this talent, but the main downside is the fact that only the typewriter is able to apply the debuff. This means the enemies have to be in its straight line range to constantly receive the debuff, which may not always be the case. Aside from that, this talent is a great addition to boost Pozyomka's overall damage. Next up are her skills. Pozyomka's first skill gives her a small attack buff and her attacks now have a chance to do critical damage when attacking. This skill also has infinite duration and a low SP cost to boot. While it may seem like a great skill to use in AFK strategies, given the fact that Pozyomka's range is very short, you'll have to make use of ground units to ensure the enemies will stay in her range, which isn't the most ideal situation in stages with low DP regeneration. Not the best AFK skill to use, but it's still a decent option, though when compared to her other skills, this might not be the best one to put masteries in. Moving on to her second skill, it has a passive and active effect. The passive effect halves the redeployment time of the typewriter for the entire stage's duration. As for the active effect, Pozyomka will immediately launch 3 attacks that deals critical physical damage. Paired with the typewriter, there'll be a total of 6 shots fired with each skill activation. Not to mention the typewriter's defense debuff, this skill can shred high defense enemies with ease. The only downside is the single target nature of this skill. If there are multiple enemies in range, you might end up hitting the wrong enemy and wasting the skill, so timing its activation is important. Thankfully, this skill can store up to 2 charges so you'll have a backup shot in case something goes wrong. Other than that, it's a really impressive burst skill. Now, if you think this video is helpful, do give my channel a sub to show your support. Next up is her third skill. Pozyomka gets a range expansion and her attack interval is reduced to only 1 second. All her attacks gets an attack buff, and if the enemy is within the 3 tiles in front of her, the attack buff is further increased. The typewriter will also get an additional tile of range when the skill is activated. There are many notable things to point out about this skill. Firstly, the attack scaling on this skill is very high and paired with the attack speed increase. Pozyomka and her typewriter can now dish out high damage attacks at an impressive rate. Secondly, the increased attack range for Pozyomka and her typewriter allows her to start attacking enemies earlier. Thirdly, the increased attack buff when targeting enemies in the 3 frontal tiles is great, as you can make use of melee operators to block enemies from going past the range. This skill has an average SP cost and good duration, definitely Pozyomka's bread and butter skill. Lastly, we have her module. The first stage changes the archetype's useless trait by giving her a small attack buff, and she now ignores the enemy's physical dodge when attacking enemies on the frontal tile, which is just awesome. As for the second and third stages of the module, the typewriter's attack will be increased to 936, and this is excluding the bonus stats given by the module itself. If you're pulling for Pozyomka, it's a good idea to raise this module to its final stage. So, should you pull and build Pozyomka? The answer is a solid yes. While her short range might be discouraging, the typewriter gives her a lot more flexibility when it comes to deployment. Also, her kit makes up for it by boosting her damage to the maximum. With the help of the defense debuff from her talent, she can take down difficult enemies without too much support. She's a stupidly strong operator and will definitely be a great operator to go for if you're a meta player. She also shines in some upcoming CC events, all the more reason to pull for her. So, will you be pulling for Pozyomka? Tell me in the comments below. I've added a bonus question for you all to answer in the pinned comment, so do check it out and give your opinions about it. Do consider subscribing for more guides like these, and I'll see you in the comments. Bye.